There's a point where you start getting your life together. You're building habits. You're showing up. You're actually starting to change things. And you tell yourself you're doing it for you. But if you're honest, that's not really what's driving it. There's usually something underneath it. Someone you lost. Something you're trying to fix. Something you're hoping you can still get back. And that becomes the real reason behind everything you're doing. And it works until it doesn't. Because the moment that disappears, you find out very quickly whether what you built was actually yours or just something you were doing to try and hold on to something that's already gone. That's exactly where I found myself. I was doing all the right things, but for a reason I hadn't fully admitted yet. You think it's you. Your life's improving. Your structure, habits, routines. It feels like progress. You tell yourself, this is for me. But underneath it, sometimes the reason you start isn't the real reason at all. So for me, doing this YouTube channel, doing my healing journey, I thought I was doing it because of the gap of who I was and who I was in my head and who I was actually being at that time. And that's why I started it all. I started doing the YouTube channel, started finding all these different principles, started doing daily routines and habits. And yeah, I feel as if I was trying to do it for myself, but there was also something underneath it, because I wasn't fully being honest with myself. I was really doing it for trying to get my wife back. And I think one of those things with the addictions that I said about getting over addictions, it takes 90 days, but you need there was a tabletop analogy. It was that you need one big main reason why you're doing things. And my tabletop was to get my wife back. Now, that was like every single day, doing my exercises, doing the cold water shower, watching motivational speakers on YouTube. And that was my motivation. I thought that if I could just improve, if I could get my daily habits and structures back, that something that she'll actually see me and want me back. Now, over time, that wasn't the case. I was kind of kidding myself on, because everything I was building was sitting in that one idea, getting her back. Now, when we did split up, she had said she'd said some phrases to me that really stuck with me for a long time, and one of them was that I can't be with someone just for their potential. Now, that was before I started doing the YouTube channel and starting to do all these daily habits, because that was the actual epiphany of me realising that the person that I thought I was in my head. So I've got like big visions, big goals, big dreams, and the picture of me, of the picture of what I've got in my head of me building what I want to do, the person I am building that. Like, I thought I kind of was already on that path, but it was just an illusion. I was kidding myself on. I was far from that person. And that's when those words really sunk deep. Because, yeah, normally when somebody says something like that, you can kind of try to make an excuse or, yeah, like not really let it sink in as much. But that was just a truth that really sunk deep, because this is really a core reason why we split up. Because I wasn't showing up in life. I was talking a good game. I was saying, oh, like, this is what I'm wanting to build, this is who I'm going to be. But the actual reality, the person I was showing up for my wife was far from that. And yeah, it's a bit like the film Inception, that with all my visions, all my ideas in my head, I was creating this illusion that I just didn't see, that I wasn't living in that dream in reality. It was just all in my head. Now it's like a massive thing to like admit to yourself, because yeah, I was just like being depressed and being down because my life wasn't moving forward the way I was imagining it would be. I was trying to manifest dreams and manifest this into reality without doing anything about it. Now that was the thing that, yeah, my wife said to me like a good few times, trying to make me realise these kind of things, and I just kept waiting for external things to happen for me or to me, so then I would finally start. But that's just like massive procrastination, and I see it a lot in other people as well. Like I recognise that, I recognise myself in other people. But yeah, it's something really hard to admit, because it forced me to stop looking at who I could be and actually look at who I was at that moment in time. Now obviously, doing the YouTube channel and doing these kind of healing journeys, like I've been trying to close that gap, and I feel as if I am progressing towards it. I'm like, yeah, getting up at 6 in the morning, my days off, doing my exercises, cold water shower, gua sha routine, trying to make myself look a wee bit better, going for forest walks, doing my writing, doing these like YouTube videos. That is like, these are all things that, as I said, with the 25 things that you want to achieve in the next 3 to 5 years, all these small daily habits is things that I had the vision of myself doing in the future. So I know that I'm already on that path. I am getting closer to it, because even though I was changing, I was still trying to get something back with it. Because yeah, like with the gap that I'm kind of trying to say there, it's that I still had the vision of me going back with my wife. So yeah, it was just every time I was trying to kind of move on and trying to do these daily habits, what was lying underneath was the reason that I was doing it was to try to get her back. And all the small things that she said to me as well, that those were the legs, those were the kind of things that hold me up, that I was so determined that like I can work through this, there'll be a way to get through it. But there was just things that she said that just really sunk deep, and those were true. That was the problem. It was like that you're not my person. Now that's just because, like, as I said, I wasn't showing up for her. I wasn't being there. I wasn't being romantic. I think I spoke about being romantic in one of the videos, that if you're not consciously choosing what you're doing in your life, then other people or other things will choose for you. Now, if you're showing up in life, if you're choosing things to do in your own day to day, then you could choose to be romantic. But if you don't take control of your life, that romantic part is never going to be a part of your day to day. So yeah, there is that. And then she said as well that I don't like the way you are with your boys. Now, I've spoke about this in one of my videos, that when I was going up to see my boys, I end up just getting a bad habit of just chilling out with them, not really having too much money, not really focused about getting them outside and doing things. Now, I've obviously realised this. I've consciously chose to change myself on these daily habits and stuff, and I see it. I see my procrastination in them. Now, that's just learned behaviour passed down from me, and that was actually passed down from my dad as well, that kind of ancestral trauma as such. But yeah, that's one thing that I'm wanting to start to do better. Now, I can see my relationship is better with my boys. I'm taking them to class, I'm seeing them a lot more, but I still want to kind of get them to be more outdoors and do other things. Now, obviously, if you can see there, the sun's coming out. So coming up springtime, summertime, I'm really going to get them out a lot more. So this is another focus. That was one of the legs, that you're not right, you're not, how you are with your boys isn't right. Now, that's what I'm saying, that's truthful. These things that she said were so true, and I was just kidding on that it wasn't true. Now, because when everything falls away, you're left with what's actually true. Because that's, for me, it was my mind was trying to fix it, trying to change the thoughts, the maybes and stuff. But every now and again, because there is a part about failure, which actually happens. A lot of people say that motivation fades, but it's discipline and trying to do things every single day that'll kind of keep you going. But there is days that you don't feel like doing your exercises, or things get more in your head. Because as I said, with the cold water shower and the exercises, it's for me getting out my mind and into my body, and that really helps. Because I was still emailing my wife every couple of weeks, trying to come up with a different idea, a different way of trying to get her back, saying that I've changed, that I'm doing better, and but I was just really avoiding reality. Because as long as I was thinking about it, I didn't have to accept that it was over. Now, it was just keeping me in an open loop. And that's what's been my problem for quite a long time, to be honest. As I said, maybe in a couple of videos before, that there is some kind of external things that I've been waiting for. But I've been waiting for a long time, years and years and years. And it's just been this open loop that it's just so hard to deal with. And this is one of the reasons that my wife said that she just couldn't do it anymore, because I was just waiting and not doing anything myself to change. Now, the problem is that with my wife, that I was trying to get her back, and that was me not accepting that she's gone, not accepting that I'll never be able to get her back, that she'll never be able to see me changing and even if she did see me, she wouldn't want to come back anyway. She's moved on. And yeah, it's so hard to kind of to deal with that. But I just wasn't really accepting it. As I said, I was still reaching out. I was still waiting for a response. And for me, it was like, I kind of wanted closure. Like, she just, at the end, as I said in one of the other videos, that we started dating again, and then from one week to the next, she just decided, I can't do this anymore. And that was it. That was her decision done. That was her closure. She saw us the last time and then moved on. Whereas I was really building up hope of still being able to see her. Like, I still had visions that would grow old together and stuff. So from me, it was just 1 minute, like getting all happy, and then the next, it was taken away with no real explanation that I could understand. Because I just, maybe she did try to say stuff to me and try to explain it, but I just wasn't there in the headspace to even understand why or what kind of thing. And that's always been a loop that's played in my head, that I kind of felt as if I needed closure, because as long as the loop was open, part of me was still living in it. Now, I did say about the 3 days of despair that I had, and I don't really want to go back into it because I've already spoke about that in detail in one of my other videos. But what I took from it was that being basically tore down into absolutely 0% of my cup. I was just like a kind of broken shell. And what I kind of realised is when I was down there, that all the habits, all the principles that I've been talking about in these videos, this is what really kind of was there for me. That she wasn't there, she wasn't coming back. As I said, I was kidding myself on. I was doing this kind of inception, creating these new ideas or ways to get her back and emailing her. But the reality was, she never even responded to any of my emails. And that was for 3 months or something. I was still emailing her, still thinking of ways of trying to get her back. And it was trying to get that closure. But what I realised is that she can't give me closure. It's me that had to give myself closure. Now, this video is about identity, because the reasons that I was changing my life, as I said, I thought I was doing it for myself. I thought I was trying to close the gap of the person that I was at that moment in time to the person that I saw in my vision in the future. But the reasons that I started doing it and kept doing it was wrong, because, as I said, it was built on a kind of lie that I was going to get her back. So once that kind of happened, the 3 days of despair, the kind of sitting in those thoughts that the reality is that she's never coming back, that made me realise, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing the YouTube channel? Why am I trying to get myself better? And one of the visions that came up to me was that I'm doing it for my boys. I'm doing it for the community that I want to build. The people that have went through heartache and things like that, similar to me. I feel as if understanding the journey that I've went through, trying to unpack the wisdom, coming up with all these different kind of coping mechanisms and ideas of how to stay structured, stay disciplined, keep going, not numbing the pain, not falling back into like bad habits or addictions or repeating the old same cycle. Because as I said, this is my second marriage. The first marriage broke down and I went back to booze. I never done my healing journey. I like masked the pain. I never sat in the loneliness. I never looked at myself properly. So like this time came around, it was like another loop. I don't want to make the same mistake again. I don't want for somebody that if I ever meet somebody again that they say again I can't be with somebody just for their potential. I want me to be living my full potential, and I can actually see myself doing it with all these daily habits, with all these principles. It is taking a lot longer than I ever maybe imagined it would, but I can see the progress one step at a time. That 1% rule of just becoming 1% better each day. So that's when it stopped being about her and it actually became about me. It became about my dreams, my goals, the kind of structure, the routines. Those didn't break. My habits carried me. I didn't fall back, as I said, because what I'd built was already stronger than the reason I started it. Now, that was like, it wasn't me as in becoming someone new, because I spoke about this in the last video, that I thought at first I was trying to be someone new, but when I did all this like kind of healing journey, unpacking all the wisdom, having that 3 days of despair that really tore everything down, everything that was built up in my ego, all the like kind of the things that I was trying to kid myself on, the illusions, they all get tore down into like kind of a blank slate. And when I started from that blank slate, what I realised is that all the principles and tools that I've been doing, the daily habits, those were things I already chose that I wanted to do. I saw that is part of my future, the vision that I've had of my future. But I got quite excited because I realised I wasn't becoming someone new. I was choosing the parts of me that I liked, that I've been before. As I said, the wee writer, the Jolly John, like how I used to be really fun and like a good conversation, good laugh and stuff. Now, as I said, I want to bring that back into my life, into my into the kind of package of the potential, my true potential. And as I said, like it was quite exciting when I realised that, because I'm like, I can be that person again, I can be me again. And I got, as I said, like it was put a massive smile on my face, because it stopped being about who I could be and became about who I was showing up as. So doing these daily habits, doing these principles, that was me showing up for myself and just integrating that with who I want to be. So, as I said, with this chapter here, it was about identity. It was about, even if you start doing something for yourself, or even if you start doing it for somebody else, or doing it for some other reason, once that reason kind of gets, like kind of the curtains get drawn, you can actually see, that's when you choose to be your own. It's for your, like the ownership, you're taking ownership of yourself. And as I said, with these loops, they are dangerous, like keeping them open. It's like waiting for somebody else, like external things to happen for you. It takes the power away from you. And that's, for me, it was that realization that I had to give myself closure. I had to say that she isn't coming back, so I can move on with my life without wrecking my nervous system like every single day. And I've not really been that great with it. I've been really up and down, even though I've got all these like kind of, as I said, out of mind into my body, like principles and exercises to do. It's still kind of a bit like the pendulum that I said, it was swinging from one extreme to the next. But I'm building my baseline every single day. Every time it swings, I'm changing my baseline, and it's getting better. I can see myself, on that kind of path to my full potential. Because you can start for someone else, but it only works when it becomes yours. So for a while, you don't see it clearly. You think you're moving forward, but part of you is still tied to something behind you, still waiting, still holding on to something that hasn't fully closed. And as long as that's there, you're not fully in your life yet. But once that drops, once you actually let it be what it is, what you've been building starts to feel different, because it's not tied to anything anymore. It's just yours. And that's when things actually start to move forward properly. Now guys, this has been a wee bit of a more personal one, part of my journey talking about these things. But this is part of identity. It's part of the kind of chapter in the book that I'm kind of wanting to write, because it is a big thing. As I said, like, you need to kind of close the loops, choose you, start loving yourself again. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. Slanjiva. Ciao.